Udamson. On a scorching day in Burkina Faso, President Ibrahim Traoré's convoy was traveling through a remote stretch of countryside when something unexpected happened. His lead vehicle suddenly broke down, cutting the convoy in half. For a few minutes, there was confusion, radio chatter, and halted movement. No cameras, no ceremony, just a dusty roadside and the leader of a nation, temporarily stranded. With limited signal and no quick access to reinforcements, this rare moment of vulnerability was quietly unfolding. Despite being head of state, Traoré is known for traveling light, often avoiding excessive security. So when the engine trouble began, he ordered his team to remain calm and avoid panic. He stepped out of the vehicle himself, looked under the hood, and waited. But what happened next would change not only his day, but become a story that rippled through the country and beyond. A local farmer on a worn-out motorcycle saw the convoy and slowed down, noticing the stalled SUV and curious silence. The man, dusty from his fields, approached slowly and cautiously. One bodyguard stepped forward, but Traoré waved him off. "Let him come," he said. The farmer dismounted and asked what was wrong. After a quick glance, he offered help. Without knowing who he was really talking to, the farmer slid under. The vehicle diagnosed a busted fuel line and suggested a fix using rubber tubing from his own motorbike. Traoré watched, intrigued and respectful. This wasn't staged. It was real, human and raw. After 30 minutes of improvisation, sweat and silent teamwork, the vehicle roared back to life. Traoré smiled and clapped his hands. Only then did the farmer notice the murmurs from soldiers calling the man president. His eyes widened. You're Ibrahim Traoré?" he asked, stunned. Traoré laughed. "Yes, and you just fixed the president's car." What followed was a handshake that would be talked about across the nation, a symbol of humility and unity between a leader and his people. Traoré insisted the man ride with him to the next town. Along the way they talked, not about politics, but about life, farming and family. The farmer, whose name was Musa, explained how rising fuel prices had affected his village, how kids had dropped out of school and how droughts had made land harder to cultivate. Traoré listened, not as a politician, but as a fellow Burkinabe. He took mental notes and by the end of the ride had decided something big needed to change. In the following days, news of the event spread like wildfire. Government spokespeople tried to spin it, but people already knew the story. It wasn't just about a breakdown, it was about connection. Pictures leaked of the dusty handshake and social media turned it into a national moment. Hashtags trended, artists drew murals. School kids talked about being like Musa, brave, kind and helpful. For many, it wasn't just news, it was inspiration. President Traoré followed through. Within a week, he visited Musa's village, unannounced, and met with locals. He announced a rural infrastructure initiative, better roads, better equipment for farmers and mobile repair units for remote communities. And in front of the villagers, he pointed to Musa and said, "One man can change the course of a nation, not with speeches but with tools and goodwill." The village erupted in applause, many holding back tears. Musa was offered a national honor, but he humbly declined fame. "I didn't fix a car because it was the president's. I fixed it because someone needed help." But Traoré wouldn't let the story fade. He used it in speeches, reminding ministers and officials that leadership means humility, and that sometimes the people with the least expect the least and give the most. Musa's story became part of national curriculum, a tale of unity that transcended class, status and protocol. International media picked it up. Headlines like "The farmer who fixed the president's car" appeared in Europe and Africa. Analysts praised Traoré's down-to-earth leadership, calling it a masterclass in genuine connection. But for the people of Burkina Faso, It wasn't about politics. It was about pride. In a time where most headlines are dark, this one lit a fire of optimism. If a broken-down vehicle could bring hearts together, maybe the nation wasn't so broken after all. And so, what began as a mechanical hiccup became a defining moment, not for the power it revealed, but for the humility it demanded. Ibrahim Traoré, a soldier-turned-statesman, reminded his country that sometimes leadership comes not from behind podiums, but from beside dusty roads. And Musa, the farmer, with calloused hands and a borrowed wrench, reminded the world that heroes don't always wear medals. Sometimes they just show up when they're needed most.